Thank you, Arundhathi. Now I'd like to introduce Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn, activist, author, professor, and people's historian, is fond of reminding us of George Orwell's famous quote, "Whoever controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." Professor Zinn has spent his long, productive, and inspiring career teaching us that history is not the story told by the powerful, but the collective life experiences of ordinary people, and that knowledge itself is the most powerful force for social change. As we continue to reclaim our history tonight, we now turn to a discussion between Howard Zinn and Arundhathi Roy. Please join me in giving Howard Zinn a warm welcome.
Thank you. Well, sitting there in the front row where I belong, and listening to Arundhathi, I had not the most profound thought, really. I thought, she speaks so beautifully. And I thought, we're not accustomed to that. No, we who watch our political leaders on television, we're just not accustomed to that. You know. And of course, also, she speaks the truth, and we're certainly not accustomed to that. And we've heard so many truths tonight. Like about democracy and the way it's been used. And as you said, Arundhathi, it's become a euphemism for, you know, the free market and all of that. But maybe we need to reclaim the word, right? We need to reclaim the idea of democracy from those people who have stolen it from the American people. You know, and talk about what it really means. And, you know, because we grow up, in the United States, we grow up. I'm not sure how you grow up in India. You can tell us how you grew up in India. But, you know, we grow up in the United States and everybody's told, look, we live in it's very simple. We live in a democratic country. There are lots of other countries around and, you know, they're not democratic, but we live in democracy. And so this is a very good time to really start thinking about democracy, start people thinking about democracy, sort of part of that process you were talking about, you know, of, reacting to what is going on in the world, informing people, and reminding people that democracy is not the control of politics by a small number of very rich people in the country, and reminding them that democracy is not the control of the economy by a small number of corporations, and democracy is not the control of our minds by a small number, you know, of powerful media, and reminding them that democracy is what we see when people organize, get together, take risks, go to jail, commit civil disobedience, do the kinds of things you were talking about, boycott and strike and general strikes, and all of those things, democracy is not what they put on the blackboard in junior high school when they show us the three branches of government. Democracy, no, that's not. Democracy comes alive when people do as people did in the labor movement in this country, and what people did in the movement against racial segregation, what people did in the movement against the war. I mean, that's when democracy comes alive. And comes alive when people speak the truth to one another and spread the truth. So I'm very grateful, Arundhati, for you doing that for us here. But I'm really here. I really should be asking you things. I shouldn't be.
I'm happy to keep quiet.
You're happy to keep. I thought that's why I'm doing this. I thought you would need a little rest. Okay, but only a little rest. Because I want to ask you about democracy in India, and if it's used the same way. Because we in the United States, we talk, there are democratic countries, India is a democratic country, right? How do you look, what's going on there? What's going on with democracy in India?
Democracy in India is in serious trouble in a very different way from here. Because in a way, it's the opposite. It's not a small number of people and corporations controlling the media, but what it is a sort of majoritarianism. Last year, around this time, actually in April, February, March, April, I don't think many of you in America would have read this because, India's open to the corporate markets. So now when Indian governments slaughter people, it doesn't make it to the news unless there was Saddam Hussein. It wouldn't make it to the news. But in February last year, supervised by the state of Gujarat, the BJP, which is a right-wing Hindu government in power in the center as well, slaughtered 2,000 Muslims. 150,000 were driven from their homes. And this whole process was supervised by the government. They had cadastral lists of Muslim partnerships, Muslim businesses, Muslim homes. Each of these was targeted and burnt. Women were gang raped and burnt alive on the streets. There's evidence, there's masses of evidence. Nothing happened. No one was charged. The chief minister who oversaw all this, a man called Narendra Modi, was then voted back to power. So this is the frightening thing about democracy. When the courts mean nothing, when the constitution means nothing, when democracy just means elections, then you can get majoritarianism of a kind. A young child asked me, Arundhati, is Narendra Modi worse than Bush? Which of these two is the worse? So I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Modi kills his own people and Bush kills other people. So which of them is worse? So I said, well, you'll have to just look at it like this, that they both kill people. They're both murderers. We don't have to choose between the two of them. But there is a very, very frightening time in India right now. A kind of, everything is being arbitrated by these rampaging mobs, Hindu right-wing mobs. And therefore today, strangely enough, while this is happening, at no time has the government of India been closer to the government of the United States, ever. Because